Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get into our long-promised part 3 of the WKBRL livestream. We have so much stuff to get into, a lot of exciting theories revolving around new brawlers coming around the corners, really outlandish theories for potential new updates coming out here in the very near future, as well as this overarching Carnival theme music popping up in the livestream, more evidence supporting those claims. So guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into, like I said before, so if you guys are all excited, let's get straight away into it. Here we go! Alright everybody, so we're heading into part 3 because you guys showed so much interest in it. I set a like goal on one of our most recent Brawl News videos for 7,000 and you guys smashed it out of the park, and the only reason I did that is because these WKBRL theory crafting videos I feel like have a different feel than the normal videos that I do here on the channel. So it's really awesome that you guys find this stuff as intriguing as I do, because I've been headfirst diving into all of this lore and theory crafting, and we have a bunch of really exciting things to get into. So in order to keep this organized, we need to divide it up into parts. Part 1 is going to be all about the new sounds that were discovered about these gadgets that we're getting here in Season 2 of Brawl Stars, and the deeper lore surrounding the way that we were received these little sneak peeks on the gadgets. Part 2 is going to be all about the interesting music we've been hearing on the live stream and connecting the dots to different events that we've been having here in Brawl Stars, such as the animations coming around the corner and what it could mean leading up to potentially a new brawler or potentially a new theme coming around the corner. And then part 3, and probably my favorite part, are sounds that don't really pertain to current events, sounds that have to deal with certain brawlers in the game that we haven't had that much context for. So of course it means that something is coming around the corner or could be leading up to something very important coming here. And then we'll wrap everything up, say like a part 4 or a conclusion for the video today, on the biggest overarching theory that we have here in Brawl Stars, the Carnival theme, the smiley face logo we see popping up a lot as of recently, and what we've been hearing in the live stream pertaining to that, as well as certain theories of what could be coming in the future. So guys, hopefully that was a good enough little introduction of what you can come to expect here in today's video. Hopefully you're excited. Let's go guys, strap up, it's gonna be fun. Alright everybody, so where we last left off in part 2 of our WKBRL livestream theory crafting, we were surrounded in this veil of uncertainty. We didn't know if the live stream was true or not. We didn't know if we were being duped. We were worried that all of our efforts were for nothing if that were the case. But in this last update, with Season 2 being released, we were finally offered some credibility with this. When you update your game, you can take a look at the ratings and reviews, the privacy policy, terms and service, parents guide, but at the very bottom, we have the link to the live stream with question marks on it. Basically, Brawl Stars saying that this has direct ties with us. So what this did basically is it gave us the green light to really dive deep into this sucker and believe that the stuff on the live stream has some sort of importance for Brawl Stars, basically predicting things coming around the corner and trying to figure things out beforehand. Also, if you guys find any of this stuff interesting, there was a Discord server created by our partner in crime, Development Art, along with a few others helping out, such as our getaway driver advertisement guy, where basically the whole entire purpose of this Discord server is to share ideas and try to progress the theories. So that link will be in the description down below if you guys would like to participate as well. So once again, huge shout out to Develop Art as well as advertisement guy, because these two definitely helped out a bunch with today's videos. Guys, without any further ado, let's get straight away into part 1. So to start things off here with part 1 of our video today, all about the different sounds coming that are referenced to the gadgets that are coming here in Season 2 is really interesting, because number 1, not every single one of the gadgets that are confirmed coming in this update are on the live stream, and number 2, most of the theories surrounding them is from the way they're being advertised, right? There's not real much that we can get from them if it's just the main outcome that this is this gadget, you know what I mean? So let's get straight away into the very first one. So starting things off here on a tweet from advertisement guy, this what we think is a reference to an already existing gadget in the game, and that is Bose Gadget. So let's take a listen.
Combat your dental hygiene in a stealthy way with new tripwire floss for teens. Yeah! Blast away plaque buildup and detonate dental debris with tripwire floss's eagle-eyed persuasion for teens. Yeah! Landmine cavities be dental dimmed. Your new smile will go boom! Tripwire floss will blow your mom and dad away. Yeah! Trip, trip, trip. floss. With this kind of stuff, you blow your friends and parents away. Wow! Tripwire floss is for small adults under 18. Yeah!
So to break down the clip even further here, and a huge shout to Advertisement Guy for helping put together this Google Doc of all the different sounds being found since July 17th, which was the date of all the newest sounds being added to the live stream, which we are breaking down today. So huge help. Link in the description down below to Advertisement Guy as well as Develop Art. But as you can see, this is definitely a clear reference to Bose Gadget being released, having Tripwire in the actual name, as well as other references here in the second line, Eagle Eye Persuasion, so another reference to Bo. The only other takeaway from this is that it's kind of weird how it ended. The final sentence, it says Tripwire floss, kids for small adults, which doesn't make much sense, and Advertisement Guy points out that it would make more sense for kids and small adults under 18. So kind of strange, and kind of strange that there's dental floss being advertised to just like younger adults and teens. So I don't know what to take away from that, but let's move on. So getting into the next sound here, and what's interesting about this one is that Bo ended up getting 2 different advertisements for his gadget, what appears to be. We don't know if it has a different meaning, or maybe it's just sounding like Bose Gadget, but have a listen and then we'll talk about it.
A new toy for the whole family to fear. Be explosive. Devastate the terrain. With the new remote control, My Little Mine. Leave the whole town in an anxious mess, because only you control when this thing will blow. It'll feel like the real thing, because it is.
So a lot of people stumbling upon this clip thinking that it was an advertisement for Bose Gadget, but it's strange that there are 2 different advertisements for it. If you ask me, the first one that I showed you was definitely something to deal with Bo, right? He had references to actual mechanics that he has in game, but this one, I guess the only real thing that pertains to Bo is that there's mines, right? But I guess you could also point to the fact that Penny has a way that you can detonate your own thing you control when this thing will be blown, but it's not a mine. So the only real thing to take away from this that's strange is the fact that there's 2 for Bo. Maybe Bo has more importance, who knows. So for our next sound, we're popping over to a tweet from Develop Art, an original tweet from Advertisement Guy pertaining to Crow's Gadget, another gadget that we already have in game. So have a listen.
Want to be a winner? Then give yourself an edge over your enemies with Slow Crow Anti-Energy Substance.
Don't drink it, throw it. It's poison.
Some people want a level playing field. Other people would rather use poison.
Don't drink it, throw it. It's poison, silly.
Slow Crow Anti-Energy Substance replenishes your opponents with the necessary toxins they need in order for you to win.
So of course this one is definitely pertaining to Crow and his new gadget, all about an energy drink that you shouldn't be drinking, an energy drink that you give to your enemies to slow them down. It's literally what Crow's gadget does here in the game. So nothing real crazy notable coming from this. The really only thing that we can go off of from all the clips that we've seen so far is that they're gadgets that are already released inside of Brawl Stars. So let's continue. So moving along to the next sound here, and it's all about my main man, the creature of the night, Mortis, another gadget that has already been released in the game, Survival Shovel. But what's interesting about this one is that it's the very first gadget sneak peek that isn't particularly about what the gadget does. So take a listen.
This message is from Mort. It's a shovel repair tech again, and I'm calling about these bats. I don't know if you know this or not, but you got a lot of bats in your shovel, and well, we're not totally equipped to deal with all the bats. Normally, we don't get shovels riddled with bats like this in a shop, so that's gonna take some more time. I mean, what are you doing with this thing? One bat I can understand, but a whole swarm or whatever it's called, it don't seem right. We can't keep fixing this thing if you're going to bring it in full of bats like this.
So breaking it down here once again with the help of Advertisement Guy, like I said before, this is the very first gadget reference sound clip that isn't about what the actual gadget does. Literally, the conversation is a guy leaving a message or trying to get a hold of Mortis saying that we can't repair your shovel because it has all these bats inside the shovel. Advertisement Guy goes on in pointing out here in the notes section of this, saying that although not explicitly stated, it can be assumed that this audio clip is a reference to Mortis's second gadget, Survival Shovel. A group of bats is called a colony of bats, as the man on the call points out. Overall, this clip is more of an Easter egg than a reference to anything in particular. So like I said before, this sound clip being unique as it is compared to the other ones, we might be seeing something pertaining to this down the road, maybe with some lore developments. Mortis's shovel right now is completely fine, but it might be broken in some sort of way, maybe in an animation, much like Barley's most recent animation where he freaked out, right? Maybe we'll have an animation of some sort where Mortis's shovel is broken, some clarification for this specific clip, but let's move on. Our next sound is the final sound pertaining to gadgets here in the game that were found on the live stream here over on Twitter on Tape Joestar, and it's for Primo's gadget, which we outlined in a previous Brawl News episode already, but this I would say is the deepest and the richest lore behind it and what is being said in the advertisement, so let's have a listen.
Today's episode is sponsored by Meteor On Demand. Meteor On Demand is the only personal Meteor delivery service that brings a Meteor straight to your door. You don't have to have a podcast to appreciate the convenience of a good delivery service. That's why I'm such a fan of Meteor On Demand. They take the confusion out of Meteor delivery so you don't have to fuss with ancient prophecies or star charts to get what you want when you want it. Simply open up the Meteor On Demand app and a personal Meteor will drop into your general vicinity. It's that easy. My partner loves Meteor On Demand's gift delivery feature too. Dropping a Meteor on someone is way more personal and memorable than flowers. And for a limited time, podcast listeners get free delivery on their first Meteor order with the code SEEYOURCRATER. And now, back to our show.
So like I said before, this one has most definitely the deepest lore or theory surrounding it, just because it's so long and it has a few different things that people are thinking are interesting about it. So of course this one is about Primo's gadget, right? If you guys take a look at the Brawl Talk, you can see a glimpse of what Primo's gadget does, and that is you hit your gadget and a meteor comes down in your vicinity of some sort and smacks someone close to you. That's what we can kind of guess it does from what we see in the Brawl Talk, but there's a bunch of other stuff about space because meteors and things like that. So let's take a look further what Advertisement Guy has to say about it. This sounds like an excerpt of a commercial break for a podcast show titled Space Junk, while there is real-life variant of this show currently available on the website optcorp.com. So there's an actual podcast or a show that has something to do with this. Moving on, the host of this show has a direct British accent, unlike the real American host in the show. The star chart part may be a jab at the Mystic Trio, which is Tara, Sandy, as well as Jean, but moving on, as their design contain motifs for the sun, moon, and stars. If this whole thing does tie into the ARG alternative reality game, the code that the host mentions here may be something to take note of. And if you guys don't remember the code that they said at the end of the sound clip, it was "See a Crater" that Advertisement Guy is talking about there at the end. So moving along to a quote tweet here from Development Art on a tweet that was also the same sound clip that we just went over about Primo's gadget, but he goes on and saying, "This is like a mobile app promo. You know what made me especially curious? The speaker said in the end, now back to our show. Maybe this is referencing a match in Brawl Stars, like Brawl Stars is a TV show of some sort." But what's even more interesting about this Primo advertisement for his gadget is some of the theories revolving around it. Some people in the community thinking that it might be pertaining to an update coming around the corner dealing with space of some some sort, which would be very outside the norm. It wouldn't really fit into the lore of Brawl Stars that well, but as you all know, the very first iteration of Brawl Stars, or the concept of the game, was in space, so that may be an homage to way back in the day or something like that. Or maybe we'll have like a specific update that is commemorating that time for Brawl Stars, going back to the roots. Maybe we'll have like a space theme here in the near future, because the Primo one as well as the Mortis one were the only ones that had something else describing it or had some deeper meaning to it. So really interesting. But like I said before, that was the final sound found on the live stream pertaining to the gadgets coming out here in Season 2. So important things to take note of in general, the theories surrounding these things is that, one, it could be release date oriented, right? We didn't have show up on the live stream Jesse, Barley, Shelly, Piper, and Dynamite. You could argue the fact that one of those bow ones that we pointed out was Penny's, which is why Penny's is in the game right now, but we still don't have a few of those, so maybe potentially leading to new sounds coming here to kind of sneak peek the other gadgets, along with other sounds pertaining to deep lore around Brawl Stars. But other than that, that's basically the main premise, as well as the deeper stuff surrounding like the Mortis one as well as Primo's. But with that being said, it is finally time to transition into part 2 of today's video, and that is everything to do with the music found on the live stream, connecting the dots to current events here in Brawl Stars, the animations popping up, and what it might mean here in the near future. So let's get into it. So since July 17th, with the addition of these new sounds to the live stream, there have been, in my opinion, 3 very important songs found on it. 2 of them already taking some importance from animations that we've seen from the Piper animation as well as the Barley animation. Here's the example of the soundtrack from the Piper animation. And this one is the music playing in the most recent one, the Barley's Bar animation, Poco Guitar. Now, it's pretty important to take note of that the Piper animation song was found before the Barley's Bar animation song. This one was added a little bit of ways after it, basically giving us that timeline of when these animations would be coming out. Now, what's even more interesting, at the end of each of the animations that were posted, Barley's Bar as well as Piper's, they had an homage to the actual song found on the live stream, literally sound for sound. So have a listen. So basically, the Brawl Stars dev team with these 2 examples is saying to us that we should be looking to this live stream if they're adding the actual sound sample found on the live stream to the very end of the videos, the animations, so it's really cool. But the next thing that we're going to be getting into is another reference to the Barley's animation, which is actually kind of creepy, but it's cool that the Barley animation got 2 different references, so have a listen.
Consolidated Paper and Cardboard. We have all the top quality corrugated paper products to fit your office, small business, restaurant, or bar needs. Our inventory includes paper towels and napkins, paper cups, coffee sleeves, and our best-selling bar coasters. Our thick, high-quality coasters are heavy-duty and reliable, able to soak up water from the sweatiest, most condensation-covered glasses. Never again will an inconsiderate customer slop down his or her sopping wet glass on your beautiful polished wooden table, ruining the finish with a blatant disregard of the rules. Consolidated's coasters are strong enough to soak up the wet, inconsiderate puddles from the most selfish rule breakers in the world. Here at Consolidated, it makes us, Let's just say it makes us very angry to even think about people not using our coasters when they're right there available for use. In fact, this anger can often feel all-consuming, a rage that starts deep in the chest and is in danger of spilling over into a parade of fury that will blot out the sky. Use a coaster, use a coaster, use a coaster. Ah! If we have to tell you this one more time, we'll destroy every wet fiber of your being. Do not test our patience, we will...
Consolidated Paper Company, the product you should always use. Consolidated Paper Company, the products you should always use.
So excuse the low quality of this photo, but it gets the point across. Like we were mentioning in our most recent Brawl News episode, since we got animations from Piper as well as Barley fitting both into the same exact family and yet to have its third family member, we can kind of assume that the next animation, if we get one, or the next Brawler coming with all these little juicy sneak peeks, very well could be this final member, along with Season 3 pertaining to possibly Barley's Bar, or something dealing with the townsfolk, right? Why else would the Brawl Stars dev team produce these really high quality animations for this? It's probably the biggest running theory surrounding those two animations. So then you're probably asking yourself, Ray, what the heck is the third song that was found on the WKBRL live stream? Because it could have something to do with this potential third townsfolk brawler. Well, we're right here on Develop Art's tweets that we also outlined in the most recent Brawl News episode, but he ends up pointing out that new interesting Carnival music on stream. Maybe we can expect another promotional video soon. We will have to wait and see. So let's have a listen to this and then we'll talk about it. So like I was saying before, this is the only other new song found on the live stream that is at like a standard of the other two that we could see in a promotional video here in the near future, which is the biggest running theory, right? So this one could pertain to something bigger coming around here in the near future, maybe pertaining to that new Brawler coming. But what I think is we're probably not going to be getting another promotional video, right? Not a Barley's Bar or another Piper animation, because then that animation, if it were dealing with that third Brawler coming in the townsfolk family, would be very sneak peek oriented, right? It would be like Brawl Talk caliber, very sneak peek heavy. So I wouldn't see a promotional video using this soundtrack. I could most definitely see like a pre-Brawl Talk video coming out, much like we had with like Surges or Season 2 coming out. So be on the lookout for that one. Keep that one in the back of your mind. So next, transitioning into part 3 of our video today, and that is different sounds found on the live stream that aren't necessarily current events. We don't have anything that we can kind of connect it to, much like the gadgets coming out here in Season 2 or these animations coming around the corner. So let's get into these. These are really, really interesting. So at the same exact time, all these different sounds were coming out about the gadgets coming out here in Season 2. There were a few others almost masked by the other ones that didn't necessarily fit. Not new gadget brawlers, but brawlers in general. So let's get into the very first one, and it's about Daryl. It's probably one of my favorite ones of the video today.
Laissez votre passé derrière vous. Ils arrêteront de vous appeler petit. Et maintenant, Daryl. Laissez la marée haute vous emporter vers votre avenir. Plus qu'un baril, plus qu'un robot. Abandonnez tout derrière vous et ne portez que votre peau. Pour femme, pour homme et pour robot.
So guys, of course, I don't speak French, so I didn't understand it, but thankfully we have some French-speaking people who also play Brawl Stars, so we have the translation here. But a little bit of a side note before we read it off, I just want to point out that the fact that since these clips are coming out of brawlers that really don't have ties to current events, we can only conclude that these are things pointing to the future, right? If the WKBRL livestream has things on it that are really significant, important, most of the sounds are there for a reason, we can only conclude that these things are for future future events here. But getting into the translation here, it is let your past behind you. They'll stop calling you kiddo, but now Daryl. Let the high seas take you to your future. More than a barrel, more than a robot. Leave everything behind and only wear your skin. For women, man, and robot. Super eerie, super creepy, and of course everything to do with Daryl. Now, if you guys haven't been keeping up with the whole theory crafting and Brawl news here on my channel, a ways back we brought up that Daryl might not be who you think he is, basically drawing upon the source from Frank tweeting out to someone, and I don't have that source, but I can promise you that Frank tweeted out something along the lines of Daryl not being who you think he is. So this is definitely an homage to something along those lines, where Daryl isn't this robot, or he's trying to turn into a human. That let the high seas take your future. You're more than a barrel. You're more than a robot. Leave everything behind and only wear your skin. So it's almost like Daryl's trying to be something that he's not a robot. So extremely interesting, and it's kind of cool that it's tying back to past theories that we've had about Daryl. But getting into the next one, and that is about Spike. So here's the audio clip found about Spike by a familiar face in today's video by Taupe Joestar. I'm probably saying it wrong. I probably said it different than I did before, but let's get into it. This one's really interesting as well.
Howdy, cowpokes. Are you sick of weak cactus? Do you wish you could have cactus in Siberian winter, or even in nuclear winter? Then you're in luck, little doggy. Our cactus are made in special soil with the best humane growth vitamins, so they have the sharpest, teeth. These cactus practically take care of themselves. It's almost like a little man lives inside. But do not look inside for a little man. Never look inside for a little man. We have bulk rates too. Our cactus are perfect for weddings, birthdays, funerals, theme parks, funerals, and more. So mosey on down on Cowboy Ivan Cactus Patch and pick a cactus before they pick you.
So heading over here once again to the Google Doc that advertisement guy has going on for us, which again is super helpful, but the one in question is this Cowboy Ivan's cactus patch. So after listening to that, it's a lot of stuff about an advertisement about buffing up your cactus. Is your cactus weak? Well, come on down to the cactus patch where you can get something. But then he goes on and talking about some weird stuff like don't look inside the cactus, never look inside the cactus, and stuff like that. So I think advertisement guy elaborates on this perfectly, so we'll read it off. Clear reference to Spike, and even including an allusion to Kairos Time's speculation of Spike being a mascot. Guys, Kairos is a freaking wizard. I swear he has a time machine, man, but it does make sense, right? It's kind of making sense that because Spike doesn't have a voice or anything like that, it might be something else within a mascot skin. He kind of fits that vibe, doesn't have much personality to his mouth or his eyes or anything like that, kind of just a hollow shell for something inside, which also gives credibility to why the guy is saying don't look inside, you might see what you don't want to. But going on here, so the clip is particularly interesting, even mentioning theme parks as one of the optimal places where these cactuses are to be placed in. One of the most winter capable cactuses that exist are the hedgehog cacti, native to the southwest of the United States. This ad would sound as if it would air within a Wild West setting, seeing how cowfolk and cowboy make up the vernacular of the commercial. So really interesting there. Another little homage again to Spike. So cool how he's making the connection to the hedgehog cacti, and that it's in that kind of dialect, kind of fitting that western feel. And we are once again getting some carnival things popping up like we always do, I swear. Can't wait to see what that all kind of plays into this whole overarching theory that we have going on about theme parks, amusement parks, carnivals, stuff like that. Another thing to point out about the families as well is that Spike's a part of the Wild West trio with Colt and Shelly. So again, kind of fitting that vibe of the whole Midwest, that type of vibe that was in that advertisement. So pretty dang cool. And the final thing we're going to be getting into in part 3 before we wrap everything up with this overarching theory in part 4 is this one. It's not pertaining to a particular brawler, but it is a theme that we've seen already in this live stream, and that is space talk. So have a listen.
Добрый вечер. Звуки, которые мы слышим сегодня, являются рентгеновскими лучами. Они исходят от PRDPL-158 и доносятся к нам из галактики, находящейся между Месьер-81 и Сомбреро, 12 миллионах световых лет от Земли. Данные переведены в аудиопульсации Юрием Горьким из Роскосмоса.
So of course that was in a different language, which was Russian, so it translates to good evening. The sounds we hear today are X-rays. They come from Bear Deeble 158 and come to us from the galaxy located between Mizir 81 and Sombrero 12 million light years away from Earth. The data was translated into audio pulsations by Yuri Gorky from Roscosmos. So of course, like we mentioned before, another space-oriented thing, talking about different galaxy, millions of light years away, almost kind of taking place, this clip, while he's in like a space station. So kind of drawing or connecting those dots with that Primo one, two different references to like meteors, space, maybe building up to a future update, dealing with outer space-oriented things. So it seems really, really cool. But moving along to the notes that advertisement guy has on it, Roscosmos is the real-life space agency of the Russian state. The Sombrero galaxy, otherwise known as Mizir Object 104, is located 31.1 million light years away from Earth. I'm making the assumption that the X-rays being emitted are from a space object located between the two galaxies mentioned, as said object is located 12 million light years away, as the clip says. Since X-rays help detect bones and Sombrero is explicitly mentioned, is this clip referring to Poco in some capacity? Now I think that's a little bit of a stretch, being the Sombrero thing. It very well could be. It's really the only reference that we have to Brawl Stars, you know what I mean, being fitting into the game that we're literally talking about. But the X-ray thing might be quite a bit of a stretch there. So I think the biggest thing to take away from this, that it might be something dealing with Poco, but another kind of speculation or setting in space. So two different things on that. So really, really interesting there. So around the corner to part 4 of today's video. What the heck does this all mean? What's the overarching meaning of all this craziness going on? Well, I think there's a few different parts to it, right? So of course we have different things coming out from the live stream that have to deal with this bigger thing that we have going on in Brawl Stars, and that is the Carnival theme. So the amusement park, the theme park, whatever you want to call it, with that smiley face logo that keeps popping up on the crowns, as well as previous animations and most recent animations in Barley's Bar, as well as multiple other things pertaining to that, such as that cloud found in the Barley's animation having a clown face on it, as well as different sounds in the live stream that is literally like a sound that we already have in Brawl Stars, but it's just made more Carnival-esque, like upbeat, cheerful, and goofy. So we have that going for us, as well as a bunch of different sounds that we went over today have to deal with the next update of what we believe, right? So the animations coming out with Piper, Barley, and a mysterious third. Maybe that third song coming out pertaining to the newest Brawler coming around the corner, which I'm assuming we will be getting some more information on. And then of course with that, the biggest theory for season 3 would be Barley's Bar, or something around the whole townsfolk vibe to introduce that third Brawler into the townsfolk family. And then finally, I would say the third biggest thing coming from all these sounds is future developments, right? Things that we don't necessarily know about or don't have direct ties to in current events in Brawl Stars, and that is the whole advertisement about Spike and Daryl and the space stuff coming around the corner, maybe a potential season 4 or season 5. We don't know quite yet. What we do know is that the live stream is something that we can kind of confide in. It's something that is been proven true over and over again, and now we have credibility on, coming from the Brawl Stars dev team themselves. So for those, we only really know that it's lore development possibly coming around the corner, or a potential update setting here in the way distant future. So really, really interesting, guys. Hopefully you all are interested in this. This took a very long time, as well as a lot of help from other people, right? So a huge shout out to all those people who are so involved in this community that I feel like I've been a little bit a part of as of recently, digging through and trying to figure things out for all of you guys, putting it together so that you guys can understand what has been going on since the 17th, when all these new sounds came around the corner. And then of course other sounds did come and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, definitely be on the lookout for all that craziness. We have things to look forward to, that's for sure. And if any more information comes around the corner, such as bigger things like animations, we'll do another Brawl news to keep you guys informed on that front. So yeah, you guys, my goodness, what a fun little escapade I found myself in on this live stream. It is so much fun to keep up with. Hope you guys enjoy these videos. If you did, make sure to slap a like on it. I would really, really appreciate that. Make sure to be using code RAY. It helps me out in such a big way. I told you guys I'd be promoting that a little bit more often, but it truly does mean the world to me if you guys do that. It helps out so much. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to keep having fun with Brawl Stars. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody. And with that being said, we'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, you guys.